Get Warrior Tough. Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch. Dutch.
I love the Dutch button. Oh, man. All right. So if you want to join the conversation, use the hashtag #GetWarriorTough. You can find Dutch at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at WarriorToughPhD on the Twitter. Website is GetWarriorTough.com. You can call the office at 864-977-1443. Hey, Dutch, this past week, last week I was out in Denver, and I did a TV spot while I was out there. And it was the funnest TV interview that I ever had. I sat down, and there was two ladies were the hosts. I want to say Joanna and Paula. And it was just fun. We were kicking it. And so I sit down, and we're in the breaks, and they said, this whole Get Warrior Tough, thing, we're women. We think emotionally. I said, that's perfect. They said, what? I said, oh, yeah, we absolutely have to have it. So we talked about the burning house and how, I'm like, if your kids were in the house by themselves, the fire chief said you can't go in. Are you going to? Yes. I said, that's perfect. See, this is what you need, that emotional driver. I said, now what's the plan, though, right? They're like, what? Save the babies. I said, yeah, now all three of you are dead. We got to come up with an actual plan. And so, we went through that whole thinking like crap, clarity, relevance, accuracy, precision. That's where that truth and fact really comes from, is getting clarity. And it was a lot of times people think because we were Get Warrior Tough and, it's like my bio marine and federal agent, all that stuff that women, this isn't for them. No, women are better at this stuff than men. Women are more mentally tough than men. And if you have doubt me on this, women give birth to the children, and we need somebody to bring us a thimble full of that blue nighttime so you don't sneeze cough medicine when we get a cold. We can't even get up and get it ourselves. We bring the wives have to bring it to us. I'm telling you, men are babies, man. So, so I know we're kind of, we have a lot of testosterone, you and me, Dutch, but I'm telling you, this stuff really, women are better at it than men are.
Yeah, I believe there's far too many examples to argue with that, man. They're all over the place, man. I just listen to some of the stuff that happens in my house, and I'm like, hey, man, go talk to mom about that. I'm not even trying to go near that.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's plenty of examples out there of that, man. I ain't gonna argue.
Right. So I just wanted to I wanted to say that, because a lot of times. I'll say our audience is more men than women because we're men, but women kind of think like, well, I'm an emotional thinker. I can't give that up. We don't want you to give that up. And this is the thing with fact and or emotion and logic. I'll say it that way. It's really fact and truth, but emotion and logic, right? So emotion is the driver, and you have to have that because you'll do the hard thing, and you'll go do things that would cause you pain or loss, and you'll override fear because of that emotion. We just need to steer with logic, and that's kind of what we were talking about with fact and truth, was steering with logic, not dismissing anybody's feelings. And that's one of the worst truths that you could, if you say, well, you shouldn't feel that way. That is an awful truth to throw on somebody. Like telling somebody they shouldn't feel a certain way. And I'll say this, Dutch, if you want to be respected, because I hear that a lot, disrespect. They disrespected me, even in relationships. That's so disrespectful. That's a truth. Disrespect is a truth. If you want to feel respected, how about you show some first?
Yeah, the funny thing is that's literal. The way you can show someone respect is by providing an example, right? A lot of times, if someone pops off at me, and I don't return that negativity,
yeah,
I just gave them an example of how to respond, right? And then they'll mimic that behavior. And I like you said, show respect. So you meant that literally. Like I can show it, right?
Right. And that's what, just display it, right?
So that means a couple different things, but it literally means show it. Because there are times where someone's popped off at me and where I could have said they disrespected me, and I showed them respect. And I can almost hear the inside of them going, oh, my bad, I screwed that up. Let me do that over again. And then they respond after that with respect, even though they didn't start it. When you show them respect and they And then that the process of earning
or
it
even if
comes
they're like,
nat-
just say like they're ramped up, right, and they had the hormone dump, and even if they don't respond back, you're showing respect, and they're still like in wanting to fight, because this happens with couples, right? One of them still wants to fight, even though I say you're right. It don't matter. Like, hey, no, babe, I'm agreeing with you. No, right? It's like, okay, no, I'm agreeing with you. No, so you just you keep it up, like, so you continue to show respect, and then at some point, that's when you say, well, I've been showing you respect. Wouldn't it be fair? The fair thing to do is if you showed it back to me. And then you drop that F-bomb, right? Fair. And then that's when they're like, oh, man, because no one wants to be seen in our culture as unfair. So, but in order to set that up, you have to show respect, and then say, hey, I've shown you respect. I know you want to be fair and show me respect back, right?
That's a killer there. That's an argument killer there, I tell you. We've had examples of that, science-based examples of that. And it's always an argument killer.
Yeah, dropping the F-bomb, I call it, right? That fair. Dropping.
Yeah, the other thing is if you're ever in an argument with someone and there's a bunch of yelling going on, especially in the beginning, when the first person yells initially, don't yell back. And then when they yell, then you still respond in a very calm language. You're just talking to them, and they yell again. At some point, they're going to go, "Why am I yelling? I'm the only one yelling."
Yeah, sometimes it has the opposite effect too. They're like, "Why are you not engaged?" They want you to yell, and then when you don't, it makes them madder.
Right, because
you don't care. You don't care. You don't care.
But I found myself doing that. Even I look back at some of the times I was yelling at someone, they weren't yelling back, and I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling kind of foolish because I'm sitting there yelling, and they're not.
Right.
And then I respond. So again, that's someone showing me how to behave at that point. Like that, they didn't tell me that the yelling isn't necessary. They let me figure it out on my own. Because if I had told them to stop, if they had told me to stop yelling, I probably yelled more. You don't tell me what to do. I can yell if I want to. But when they simply didn't yell, and I'm sitting there yelling, and they're just talking, then at some point I'm even sounding loud to myself, like, wow, so they showed me how to behave. They showed me some respect by how they were dealing with me, even though the scene or the whatever it was explosive at the moment. They showed me respect, and then I was caught on it. Oh man, I sound like a fool right now. Let me lower my voice and let's have this conversation. It happens.
So when you do show, respect, it does tend to diffuse and de-escalate the situation, not ramp it up. Right? I mean, that's usually what happens.
Usually. Now, we're not claiming that's going to happen every time, but we're giving you tools that's going to have a greater rate of success when you do these things, as opposed to responding in kind if someone's acting a fool. Yeah. It pretty much assure you that you acting a fool also is not going to help.
Yes, that's correct.
Especially if you're married, you've seen it. If one's very upset and you get very upset, you're going back and forth. That's not good for anybody.
Yeah, and a lot of times, when you do, it's all just truths getting thrown back and forth, right? It's accusations and truths, and people, instead of owning their truth, they're throwing their truth on their spouse or their significant other or their mate. And if you just kind of boil it down to the facts of the behavior, and everybody owned their own truth. Not saying you can't have it, but if you own it, I felt disrespected, not you disrespected me. See, that's a different. So now I'm not accusing you. I'm telling you how I feel. And so now I'm owning my truth and my perspective. I'm not making it fact.
And you know what I do? I leave room for me to come to recover from that, right? And I leave room for the other person to recover from that, because if I felt that way, then they in turn get a chance to make me not feel that way, right? Because if I was made to feel that way, they can say, well, that wasn't my intention to make you feel that way. Or if their actions were making me feel that way, and they have an opportunity to change those actions, they can. So they have a place to come from and to get better, right? When I just attack you and accuse you of doing something that's partly on me as well, then they can't help me. And I'm putting the responsibility on them that they can't change, because that's me. Part of
Right.
it's me. We talk about how people can't make you feel, only you can make you feel a certain way. So now I'm throwing everything on them instead of sharing the responsibility by
Right.
saying you made me feel.
Right.
So I'm giving them I'm giving them some leeway to not feel completely blamed. So it's all in our responses, man. And we always talk about being a first reactor versus a first responder. And 99% of us, we react when something happens instead of responding. In it with our spouses when there's an argument or there's some disagreement, and when you respond,
And
more
what's the
times than
trick?
not-
There's that one question we always ask to give ourselves some cognitive space. When someone says something to us, we say, and I put my hand on my heart and I'll be like, how do you mean? Not what do you mean? Because what do you mean has an edge, but we'll say, how do you mean? And so people will articulate, they'll say it again a different way. Right, but it also gives you time and space to become a responder instead of a reactor. So what I'm going to do is when someone says, I'll just use the toothpaste example. You squeeze the toothpaste tube in the middle again. How do you mean? Right, and then that gives me time while they're saying it's all over the side, and it gives me time to come up with a response instead of just a reaction. What are you talking about? I didn't squeeze the toothpaste tube in the middle, or so what if I did, or any of those reactions. How do you mean is just a great. It's a scripted throwaway line, but it even though and you've seen me do it, even though people know you're doing it to them, even your spouse, your significant other, know you're doing it to them, it still works because the human brain has to answer a question.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a fair thing to do. You're giving them space and time to restate. With either more clarity, more information, what they're trying to say. And we got to say this. We got about 30 seconds left in this segment. We have to say this. Going into any disagreement or argument with a loved one, a spouse, the number one priority, the target cannot be to win the argument. That can't be,
Right.
Winning can't be the reason that you're doing this. It can't be about being right. It can't be about any of those things. That has to be off the table from the start. You have to get that.